Yo, what's up guys, John Boogle here. Today, you guessed it, I'm going to be using my own guide to beat Manic Jam. Now, if you couldn't notice, I've been going through clearing all of these Manic stages using my old guide to show not only does it still work, but also how to properly use some of these guides by adapting to the current time and meta. Now, the old guide is 4 years old, and that's pretty much to the day. Now, while these guides still work, I will still be making the updated versions of these guides just for higher quality purposes. Also, it'll give me a chance to explain things way more. Now, this strategy hasn't changed much. In the guide, I mentioned how you want to minimize as much waves as possible, and how you pull off that strategy is by using one meat shield, which is Manic Mohawk. And of course, our first run here is just a test to see how much our units could withstand, because we do have lower level units here. So this first run was a test run to just see how much we could hold ground, how much damage we can do, and then we'll learn from that. Now, the thing about Manic Jam is that it isn't all super easy because there is some elements of RNG. Even if you happen to execute a near perfect run, it can all be ruined if Manic Jam just decides to wave back to back to back to back. Now, with the strategy I explained in the guide, of course that wave chance of happening is much lower because Manic Jam will be missing his hits most of the time. You see, the reason we only bring one meat shield in that strategy is because the Gories will knock back the meat shield, allowing Manic Jam to miss. If Manic Jam doesn't land an attack, there is a 0% chance for a wave to happen. Now, you can't do this the whole time, obviously, because there's going to be times where it's just isolated Manic Jam, and he's going to be hitting your Mohawks. That is the RNG part of the stage. If you happen to get multiple waves in a row during that part, it can get quite rough, and you'll see it happen later. Now, of course, it being a base hit stage, I also mentioned in the strategy to just stack up as much cash as possible in the beginning, and that's what we did. We also tried to build up a huge stack for when Manic Jam comes out to get some nice burst damage. Now, we could have definitely just went in with Octo and Cyberpunk with research combo and easily done it that way, and that is one of these strategies I did talk about in that guide as well. But for the sake of not being boring, we're just going to use the traditional strategy here as it gets much more intense. Now, in this run, Pizza is level 33, so it can take a hit and survive a wave. A Bahamut could also survive multiple hits with that defense combo, and you could kind of juggle a Bahamut with the Gories to get some huge burst damage on Manic Jam with those rebound attacks. But other than that, no other unit here can survive a wave. They're too low leveled, they don't have enough HP, even with defense combo, and you'll see that is a crucial part, and I did explain that in the guide as well. Now, a few minutes into the run, it's really easy to tell cash is really not going to be an issue on this stage at all. Even if we are sending out a bunch of cyborgs, it's still going to be pretty easy to get that cash back with the Gory waves. The only issue I saw here in this first run is the recovery. After Manic Jam does eventually land a wave attack, we only have Pizza for recovery. As you can see here, that means we lose a lot of ground. I did mention in the guide that you want to have at least 1 or 2 units that could survive a wave to hold ground for when Manic Jam waves. Otherwise, Gories will just push through and cover too much ground, and that leads to Manic Jam being right next to the base. And if he waves there, you're done. Of course, we could just bust out our wave Ubers and such and just beat this with no issue, but for the sake of the video, we are doing it this way. But if you were using a guide, you would definitely substitute in your wave immune Ubers and such for like a Bahamut. Now, let's speed it up here a bit, because spoiler alert, this run was a failed run. Not too surprising because this was the test run, but we did get a lot of info from this run. Also, I do have Pizza wave talent at level 1, but I don't think I've seen a wave this whole run so far. So there definitely is some elements of RNG. It is definitely more than Manic Lion. People love to say that stage is just all RNG, Valk, proc, but Manic Lion is definitely a much more simpler stage compared to Manic Jam. Yes, with higher levels, this stage becomes an absolute joke because your units are going to be able to survive waves and just hold ground and endlessly stack up, but that's the case for the rest of the stages as well. But yeah, you can see we kind of got unlucky with the waves here. We were able to hold back just a bit here and try to get a last-ditch effort, but those waves just kept on coming, and this was definitely a failed run. The main takeaways from this run: we do not have enough units to hold ground. Pizza is great and all for the stage, but that being the only unit to hold ground on this stage is kind of brutal because Pizza has a pretty slow movement speed, and we need a unit to be up there in time faster, otherwise the Gories just push through and this happens. But now is the big moment to see how much damage we actually did, and the result was pretty surprising. Now, for our second run, we did have to change some things. We had to test out Little King Dragon, Now, my little king dragon is just not high enough level to tank a wave. It is very close though, but the main reason we're testing out little king dragon here is because of that survive talent. And of course we have mini wave at level 1 as well. We also could have tried little mohawk to get that immune wave talent to hold some ground, but that is not too much of a worthy investment because the gories will just destroy little mohawk anyways. But even with the defense combo, our little king dragon was just on the cusp of surviving a wave. Very tragic. If only there was a lucky ticket stage out. I did upgrade Manic King Dragon to level 30, and at level 30 Manic King Dragon can survive a wave even without a defense combo, but I decided to test the waters with the little King Dragon in this run. But let's speed up this run to see how it goes. So the beginning is same, nothing changed here. We're still using the same strategy because I believe it is still possible we could pull it off. We got pretty unlucky in the beginning with a wave right away, but it was fine because we had 2 pizzas up to recover. But now you could really tell it started to get pretty brutal because Manic Jam decided to wave back to back to back, but playing this close to the base is actually somewhat of a plus as well because you have a faster time to recover. That is if you don't have all your attackers on cooldown. There was definitely lots of close moments in this run, and it's very true that this strategy is much harder to pull off than the second strategy, utilizing Octo and longer ranged units, but Little King Dragon was definitely putting in the work. Now it didn't do its main purpose of surviving the waves much too many times or even at all, I don't think. Oh no, it happened right there. But yeah, you can see he just waves right away again and again, and just like that everything is dead again. Now in this run, however, our recovery game was absolutely elite. We were able to string our attackers and send out those machos just in time, and we cycled out a Bahamut to get that damage knockback to take back some ground, but it was still a close battle. Still winnable, but it was just dependent on RNG at this point, and there once again we get another fantastic A Bahamut cycle, but all of that was for waste when Manic Jam decides to just wave back to back right after that, because the ground we worked so hard to get back is just eliminated in a moment, so the Gorish push through and destroy the base again. But this time we had to see how much damage did we do, and there it was. That was the winning run right there. Now at this point I could have just went back in and tried again, but I did not want to waste too much time and power-ups, so it was obviously time to bring out Haniwa. Now the strategy is essentially the same with Haniwa, but this time we could actually hold ground. The thing with Haniwa is there is a way higher chance that Manic Jam does land a hit and wave, but if that happens, we have enough Haniwas on the field to hold ground. Also, we have Pizza and Manic King Dragon at level 30 to survive the wave as well. Now, you could combine the two strategies here with Haniwa and pair Haniwa with Octo, and I'll talk about that more in the updated guide, but here is just a showcase of our adaption. Gory's gonna have a harder time to push through with Haniwas there, and Gory's will be able to knock back Haniwa, Black Gory at least, so we eliminate some chance of waves while also being able to hold some ground as well, which we much needed. And with just a bit of RNG on our side as well, if Manic Jam doesn't wave too much, then we build a massive stack and Manic Jam dies. But as you can see, that's not how it goes all the time. Manic Jam definitely will wave more with Haniwa on the field, but the recovery process is much easier. All we have to do is just properly get down our A Bahamut cycles and get those huge waves of burst damage out. Then we eventually kill Manic Jam. Now I definitely could have used Castaway in this as well instead of Manic King Dragon at level 30, but the thing about Castaway is the range is not too great for this stage. That will trigger Manic Jam's wave, and we already have Pizza in the lineup, which will trigger Manic Jam's wave. So using both of them just doesn't put the RNG in our favor, but we definitely could have used Little King Dragon here as well. But there it is, Manic Jam complete. We definitely didn't have to struggle this much doing this stage because we could have just used the Octo and Cyberpunk strategy, but I did want to make this somewhat more exciting and not just spam Cyberpunk in every single Manic stage. Some of the brainwashed units here also does make a huge difference, but we don't have any of those. Regardless, we got Manic Jam. There it is, our final Manic. Well, until we record Manic Dark. But there it is, Haniwa strikes again. But yeah, the Manic guides will be out very soon. We just have a couple more of these videos left and we'll be on to those. These are not guides, but you can use these as a rough idea of what to do. These are more just me showcasing how to use some of those older guides because it's still very possible with our lower leveled units. But yeah, that's it. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new. Join the hashtag Boogle gang. Discord is below. Become a Boogle Cordian. No, that was cringe. Let me stop. But yeah, Manic guide soon. See ya.